Our next speaker is Gordon Inouye. He will be talking about the Puna Flower Power Orchid Park project. Gordon is a Big Island farmer, a businessman, and entrepreneur. He was born and raised in Hilo, Hawaii. Gordon graduated from Hilo High School, where he earned letters in football during all 3 years. He is also a graduate of the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy at Kings Point, New York, where he distinguished himself as an athlete, student, and leader at the academy. Gordon graduated in 1965, earning a Bachelor of Science degree in engineering, as well as his third assistant's license. He earned an MBA from St. Mary's College in Moraga, California, while working full-time and raising a family. Gordon is a tri-chair of the Hawaii Floriculture and Nursery Association Marketing Committee and is a board member and treasurer of Synergistic Hawaii Agricultural Council since November of 2016. Gordon was instrumental in negotiations between HFNA and DLNR that resulted in HFNA's being granted an issuance of right of entry to mine cinder from the Puna cinder pit and is chair of the HFNA Ad Hoc Cinder Committee. Gordon, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Glenn. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a story for you today. Once upon a time, in a land not too far from here, was a place where the waters were warm, the breezes gentle, and the sun almost always shined. They called it Kapoho. Yes, Kapoho in Hawaiian means depression, referring to the many warm tidal pools in the area, which we all remember. While many came to luxuriate in the pleasant surroundings, others recognized it as an ideal place to grow orchids. In this photo, you can see this is Kapoho before the eruption. In the upper left-hand corner, you can see paradise orchids. Lower left-hand corner, Orchid Plantation, Elton Mao's place. In the upper right-hand corner, Hawaiian Tropicals Direct. In the center portion, first and second nurseries for Puna orchids and Asia Pacific. On the far right, Kapoho Bay and Kapoho Beach lots. At the lower right, you'll see vacation lands. In May of 2018, Madame Pele changed her tune. In early 2018, Kilauea's activity changed dramatically. The decades-long eruption at Pu'u'o ceased. The 10-year-old Summit Lake, lava lake within Halemaumau crater drained. Fissures opened along the lower east rift zone, and Kilauea's summit experienced its largest collapse in at least 200 years. The lower east rift zone erupted. Kilauea volcano includes the lower east rift zone and the southwest rift zone. The 1960 Kapoho eruption discharged approximately 160 million cubic yards of lava over a 33-day period. The 2018 eruption discharged 6 times the volume of the 1960 eruption. The average daily discharge in 2018 was almost 3 times the volume of 1960. Within days, the lava flow advanced upon Kapoho. In this photograph, Paradise Orchids, Joseph Kekete's place, has already been overrun by the lava flow. Elton Mao's nursery, Orchid Plantation, is still there in the lower left-hand side of the photo. Hawaiian Tropicals Direct is in the lower right-hand corner, and Asia Pacific Flowers and the former Puna Orchids Nursery are at the bottom center of the photo. Within a few hours, Madame Pele consumed them all. Orchid Plantation has already been overrun in this photo. Asia Pacific Flowers and Puna Orchids Nursery has also been consumed. The greenhouse shows the former Puna Orchids 2 nursery just beginning to be overrun. Hawaiian Tropicals Direct can be seen in the top center and is still intact. In this photo, you can see the flow approaching Kapoho Bay on the right-hand side. On the lower part of the photo is vacation lands. Until finally, Pele's march to the sea was accomplished and everything was overrun. Where there once was a beautiful coastline and hundreds of homes, now all you see is black lava in the ocean. Sunrise. Even on the darkest of nights, we can count on the sun rising in the morning. Just as the phoenix rises from the ashes, sunrise reminds us that hope springs eternal. With some help from friends, we know that we can rebuild. The HFNA Orchid Park project is born, but the question is, now what? In May of 2018, Lower Puna Eruption starts. By August 7th, 2018, 13.7 square miles of land had been covered by lava and more than 700 homes destroyed. By August 15th, 2018, the eruption has subsided and no new lava is erupting from Fissure 8. However, 100% of the orchid nurseries in Kapoho have been destroyed. There are numerous meetings held by various county, state, and federal agencies, all committed to help displaced residents and farmers. But someone needed to come up with an action plan. HFNA formed an ad hoc committee to see what could be done to expedite help from the private sector as well as county, state, and federal assistance. Step one was to target a site to enable nurseries to set up shop again. A number of public areas were suggested, but the timelines to make them a reality were far into the future. Therefore, private property owners were considered. UH-CTAHR Company stepped up and pledged to make land available. As early as June of 2018, while the eruption was ongoing, the company said they would help. There was a need to coordinate the efforts of all the agencies involved. The committee sent invitations to many of the affected growers in Kapoho to attend the inaugural meeting of the group. Other industry organizations were also invited to participate, including Synergistic Hawaii Agricultural Council, as well as the Orchid Growers Association. The Department of Agriculture state loan officers, as well as land management officers, were also invited, but were unable to attend due to other commitments. County officials were also invited and were represented by Diane Lay, R&D Director, who attended several meetings and provided the group with excellent guidance. Numerous meetings were held with federal representatives as well as FSA representatives over the past 2 years. UH-CTAHR representatives were invited and they attended, as well as hosting the meetings in their offices. The private sector stepped up in a big way. In June of 2018, while the eruption was ongoing, we contacted Bill Walter, then president of UH-CTAHR. Bill advised me the company was receptive of becoming involved. However, he was retiring at the end of 2018 and introduced me to the incoming president of UH-CTAHR. If you haven't met her yet, this is Peggy Farias, the great-great-granddaughter of William and Mary Shipman. She joined the company in 2014 and holds a Bachelor of Arts degree from Harvard University and a Master of Science degree from the University of Hawaii at Hilo. She's ably assisted at UH-CTAHR by Oliver English, Director of Agricultural Operations. Oliver is also the great-great-grandson of William and Mary Shipman and has been a board member since 2004. By the end of 2018, the group had reached a memo of understanding with UH-CTAHR in terms of a lease for a site. Preliminary plans called for a 50-acre orchid park along Railroad Avenue in Kilauea. There was a Orchid Park site selection criteria established by the group. Essentially, we're looking for the Goldilocks location, a place that's not too hot, not too cold, near the sea level, but all those locations had tremendous infrastructure challenges. Roads would need to be built, and those, as we all know, are very, very expensive. Access road to air transport was required in order to make the properties accessible to the growers, employees, as well as UPS and FedEx trucks. So compromises were necessary. There were state lands available, but those were discounted due to the legislation governing lands and the controls that required them to be that manage those lands. So private lands were considered so we could tailor-make an arrangement that would work for the Orchid Park. The proposed Orchid Park was located at 260 feet elevation along Railroad Avenue. The estimated rainfall there was about 90 inches per year as compared to 80 in Komohana. There would be more cloud cover than Komohana, which would require greenhouse operations. So WH shipment lands were made available to the Orchid Park. The Puna Flower Co-op was created. The impacted growers were invited to a number of meetings. Some were willing to start back up. Some were devastated and broken. Others were able to receive some remuneration for their losses and found alternative full-time jobs. Some simply retired, and who could blame them? However, a small number of key growers decided to combine forces and form a cooperative to mutually assist each other to get back in business. So Puna Flower Power was born in April of 2019. With a smaller number of growers, an alternate orchid site was being considered. A cooperative structure was adopted as fewer growers were involved and less land was needed. The used portion of the quarry needed an agricultural use, so the fit was perfect. Russell Kauai, as you all know, is a former member of HFNA and is the owner of Puna Rock, the operator of the quarry on shipment land. Russell has cooperated very closely with Puna Flower Power and WH Shipment Company to make the project a reality. Jointly, we prepared a revised plan and updated the site plan. The outline there in the light portion is a quarry in operation, and we selected the north corner of the quarry to site the new Orchid Park. Initially, Puna Flower Power proposed a site plan with about 3.5 acres of greenhouses at full build-out. And this was the initial first draft of the plan for Puna Flower Power. The plans were downsized to accommodate the 3 to 6 growers involved in the co-op. A long-term lease memo of understanding was signed with WH Shipment, a land license to be effective January 1st, 2020, with an interim license for the remainder of 2019. Puna Flower Power with SHAC submitted a grant request to the Department of Commerce. HFNA received funding to purchase 2 greenhouses of 19,320 square feet each for teaching and training purposes, and those were to be constructed on Orchid Park Site for the future use by the co-op. HFNA also received additional funding to install some irrigation and tables, purchase plants for teaching purposes, develop a business plan for growers, and build a quarantine facility for the industry. On October 23rd, 2019, the container containing the first greenhouse was delivered to the Orchid Park site. And site preparation was started. Prior to Being the oldest section of the quarry, that section of the quarry was a place where old equipment was being temporarily stored. By the end of October, site work had commenced, and you could see much of the equipment is being removed from that area. By mid-November, a considerable progress can be noted. As you can see, the area is being cleared up very nicely. By mid-December, quite a bit of work, all the equipment's moved, most of the area has been cleared, and grading had begun. Now, if you remember, January of 2020 was a very, very wet period. Although the site was almost complete, work had to be stopped because of the flooding in the area, just accumulation of a lot of water in that area. With the better weather in February of 2020, the grading continued, and you could see the heavy equipment there clearing the land and leveling it out. By mid-February, things looked pretty good, almost ready to roll. By the end of February, it was declared ready, and so that's when we got started. In March of 2020, Puna Flower Power put a team together to build the first greenhouse. As you can see in this photo, the holes have already been drilled and some of the structures already being erected. In April of 2020, most of the structures are complete and the plastic is being installed on the greenhouses. Until May of 2020, this is the first greenhouse fully complete, except for the fixtures inside of the greenhouses. Working parallel with the construction, the Hawaii State Department of Agriculture had initiated a Kilauea Emergency Loan Fund. And these were loans with a limit of $500,000, but was set to expire in June of 2019. As I mentioned, Puna Flower Power was only organized in April of 2019, and it was clear to us that we could not submit any application in the time frame required. We therefore petitioned the Board of Agriculture to extend the deadline from 2019 to June of 2020, which the Board of Agriculture approved. In early June of 2020, Puna Flower Power submitted a comprehensive application for a loan under the program. It was placed on the August 18, 2020 agenda of the Board of Agriculture, and a loan of $479,870 was approved by the Board of Agriculture. The loan was funded and closed on October 16, 2020. While all of this was going on, our county council was busy at work. Councilmember Ashley Kirkowitz introduced County Bill 146, Ordinance 2028 on March 25th, 2020. The County Council unanimously approved the bill on April 20th of 2020. The bill allows for grants of up to $500,000 for eligible 501c3 nonprofit organizations impacted by the 2018 Kilauea eruption. A request for proposals was issued mid-July of 2020 with a July 24th, 2020 deadline, which was only about 2 weeks after it was issued. Puna Flower Power partnered with Big Island Resource Conservation and Development Council and applied for the grant. In fact, Glenn Sato is a board member of Big Island Resource and Development Council. The awards were announced in early September of 2020, and our proposal was accepted and approved. The grant provides Puna Flower Power with $450,000 to purchase another greenhouse, erect 2 greenhouses, install irrigation and benches in 3 greenhouses, as well as prepare the site for construction. Between the county grant and the Department of Agriculture loan, Puna Flower Power will be able to complete construction of almost 60,000 square feet of greenhouse and commence operations in early 2021. PFP is in the process of soliciting bids for the various aspects of the nursery and will commence the next stage of construction in the first week of November, which is next week, by the way. While all of this is going on, I mentioned that the Strategic Hawaii Agricultural Council had submitted a grant request. The federal government passed a bill in 2019 allocating grant opportunities for entities impacted by hurricanes, wildfires, volcanic eruptions, and earthquakes and other natural disasters in 2018. I believe the total sum of that bill is in the vicinity of $570 million. There has only been one application submitted from the County of Hawaii, to our knowledge, that's been endorsed by the county. And SHAC submitted an application on behalf of Puna Flower Power in late 2019. That grant request was returned to SHAC in late 2019, subject to local match funding participation. The Department of Agriculture loan approval and the county grant award recently count towards such funding approval. So a revised grant fund request is in the process of being drafted, seeking an additional $1.5 million to complete the Orchid Park build-out. With the financing in place, Puna Flower Power proposed an updated layout. The funding in place is for greenhouses 1, 2, and 3, and we'll be seeking further funding to complete greenhouses 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, a packing facility and a quarantine facility, all on the Orchid Park site. The leadership of Puna Flower Park consists of 4 officers. Yours truly is the president and director. The vice president and director is Mr. Joseph Kekedy. The secretary and director is Mr. Elton Mao. And our treasurer, although not a member, is Mr. Michael Miyahira. More recently, 2 other members were added to the co-op, Mr. Lee Nishimoto and Mr. Vernon Inouye. Any venture like this cannot be successful without the tremendous support of many, many individuals and organizations. So we'd like to say mahalo to the Hawaii Floriculture and Nursery Association, whose initial support made this entire venture feasible. Synergistic Hawaii Agricultural Council, the Big Island Resource Conservation and Development Council, the Hawaii County Department of Research and Development, the Hawaii County Building Department, the State of Hawaii Department of Agriculture, WH Shipment Company Limited, Puna Rock Company Incorporated, Councilwoman Ashley Kirkowitz, and countless others who have helped to make this dream a reality. And finally, special thanks to Elton Mao and Joseph Kekedy, whose courage and resolve in the face of adversity exemplifies the spirit of the HFNA theme, moving forward in unity. Mahalo and thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
So you have 8, you're going to have 8 greenhouses eventually.
Yes.
And how many growers are going to be in this co-op?
We're targeting a maximum of 6. We have 5 at the present time.
Okay, so you've got room for 1 more grower.
We have room for more, and if there are more interested growers, we'll be happy to interview them and see if they fit with the rest of the members, and the members will hold an election as to whether to admit an additional member or not. We feel that we have room to expand beyond where we are right now, and the door is open to anyone who would like to apply.
So is this co-op open only to displaced producers from the eruption?
It's primarily targeted to those impacted by the eruption of 2018, but the door is open to interested persons who want to get into the industry. One of our goals in the future is to train orchid nurserymen and establish a nurseryman apprentice program.
Okay, all right. And so if they're interested, they can contact you.
They certainly may.
All right. Okay, well, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.